Over the years of my life, I've always had a hobby. Whether it was painting or skateboarding, I used to play hockey after school, and generally I've always had something to do with my time. Currently, I'm obviously doing this YouTube channel. I run a little travel microblog on Instagram. I have my photography and film, and I also make music. I guess you could say that creativity has always had a strong hold on me. So when someone says to me that they've had some time off work and they did nothing and they were bored, I feel kind of awkward, because for me, when I have time off, there's always something that I can do, but I always feel a little bit disheartened for people that don't have a hobby. It kind of made me realize how important and beneficial a hobby can be. Besides the obvious fact of it giving you something to do, it can also benefit you in many other ways. So here are some things that we might forget that hobbies can do for us. One thing that hobbies can do for us is create and establish social connections. We know this, that when we sign up to a football team or we go to an art class, we know that we're going to meet people that are very like-minded. Everyone has decided to join up to this particular class or this particular club, and so you've all naturally got something in common, and this is something that can really help us to make new friends as well as build up relationships, and being able to have those relationships is very much a human need. And from then on, a friendship can form. Another thing that hobbies help us to do is to help cope with the stresses and anxiety of life. I can definitely relate to this to my music, because very often than not, I will write a song based on my emotions at the time and the feelings. And for me, it will be a way to process those emotions. And naturally, I always feel better after I've written that song, regardless of what it might be about or who it might be about. And that is something that hobbies could do for us. Whether you're painting those little figures from Warhammer or you are gaming, it's a way for us to release some stress from the day of work or school, and naturally it boosts our emotional state. Another thing that hobbies do for us is exercise the brain. It gives our cognitive functioning something to work on. Whether you're learning guitar or learning how to knit or sew, it gives us something new to think of and to process how to do things. It's something that we are obviously not natural at, where we have to learn certain movements, like when you pick up dancing. No one is naturally good at something. It just happens to be that their brain is picking it up quicker than others. So your brain is having to constantly think about all these new things and process them. So learning or picking up a new hobby is really good for your brain. Of course, with picking up a hobby, that means that you then accomplish things. And whilst it might not be something that you're actively seeking out to become the best gamer or the best musician, we are always accomplishing something new. Whether you're learning a new sewing pattern or a new chord, it doesn't matter how small, because it's always a step forward. And you never know, maybe you could get that good at it that you might consider it as a career change. But there's something to remember. You don't always have to be the best or to monetize a hobby, despite the hustle culture making you feel like you should have a hobby that you can monetize, because at the same time, hobbies are there for just that simple pleasure, that time for yourself, because what hobbies do is they help you to bring you to the present moment. I don't know about you, but I know that when I'm doing something, I'm not actually thinking of the future, I'm just thinking of the current situation now. When I'm making music, or when I'm writing lyrics, or when I'm photographing, or anything like that, I am always in the present moment and I'm in awe of it. And I think that's something that sometimes we don't get a lot of time to do, because we're at work, we're having to plan ahead, we're having to make sure that we're getting the work done, and we can get stressed. So that stress then makes us miss on the moments in the now, and you can see where I'm getting at. So what a hobby does is it kind of brings us back. It gives us that time to ourselves, and I think we all want that time to ourselves sometimes. It's not selfish at all, it's just that it's part of how we are. It's natural that a new mum will absolutely adore their child, but they just also want those 5 minutes to themselves where it's literally just them and maybe a good book. The thing is as well is that a hobby can also challenge yourself. So whilst you're learning a new skill, it gives you the time to step out maybe of your comfort zone. You might notice that to get better, you have to push yourself forward to an uncomfortable moment where that moment can soon become more comfortable. I've spoken about this before in my video of the good and bad of a comfort zone, and it's exactly that, is that the more times that you push yourself, the bigger your comfort zone becomes. But without the practice, then your comfort zone can actually shrink. So sometimes these hobbies help you to execute pushing those boundaries that you can only grow from. As I was saying, hobbies can help you to push your comfort zone, but also they can really build your character. For me, when I used to go mountain biking and skateboarding, it built up my resilience that, yeah, okay, I am hurting myself. I'm fully aware that it is a painful sport, extreme sport, may I add, but I enjoyed it thoroughly. And if anything, it taught me how to deal with pain, how to kind of get past that mental block that you can have sometimes, but also the beauty of accomplishing and doing something that is actually perceived as really difficult. And I say perceived, it is also really difficult to do. Like skateboarding is very difficult. Even though you see loads and loads of people doing it, it takes time to build. And that resilience, that lesson of being patient and just to keep going is really, really important, because there's going to be moments that you're going to face and it's going to require a lot of effort. And having a hobby that already taught you those lessons before is going to make it so much easier. A lot of hobbies can give you these life skills that are so detrimental to your growth and also being able to keep going through life, because let's be honest, life isn't all sunshines and rainbows. It can be very, very difficult at times, and we have to be resilient. We have to push through those moments, and sometimes hobbies can teach us those lessons before we have to learn them the hard way. Of course, and finally, hobbies just make you more interesting. It gives you something else to talk about, and as humans we love to tell stories, and sometimes our stories are just the hobbies that we were doing in our pastime. Some of us like to listen to music, go to concerts, some of us like to paint, some of us like to code for fun. I know that I've heard of people making their own websites and getting huge enjoyment out of that, and they didn't monetize them. And you don't always have to do that. The thing is you can do something for just pure pleasure, and that is exactly that. So when you're talking about these things to other people, you can even be inspiring. We like to bond with people that have similar interests, but also might do things that maybe either inspire us or are the same things that we do, so we can feel that connection. And so a hobby is really an important part of your life. If you have a hobby, you get all of these benefits, and so it is absolutely worth it. But if you're thinking, well, I don't know what I might be interested in because you haven't discovered your hobby yet, just try things. The best thing that you can do is just try things out, and if you don't like it, then you don't have to continue with it. You don't have to think, well, I've started it now, so I've got to stick with it, because if you're not enjoying it at the end of the day, that is not what a hobby should feel like. A hobby should feel pleasurable. It should give you that time to be a part of yourself, to be more than yourself, and to kind of just experiment and explore. That's what life is about. It's not about rigidness and just going to work, having dinner, going to sleep, and just repeating that, because I mean, honestly, that doesn't sound like the most desirable life to me. If that's something that you enjoy, then, you know, kudos to you. But I think most of us always want to try and get something out of life, and a hobby can do that. Hobbies are the extracurricular activities for life, and I think this is something that I would always recommend to people, is to pick up a hobby. So what hobby are you going to pick up? Or maybe you have one, so let me know what it is in the comments below. I think a hobby can really make you feel like you have a bit more purpose and just generally a bit more enjoyment. Anyway guys, I really hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, then give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button because I'm sure that you enjoy the content that I've got coming out soon. In fact, the content that I have coming out soon, and I'm gonna give you a little teaser now, is I am going on a trip and we're going to a few different places, so I will be splitting off those videos into 3 different videos, and I'm really excited because I haven't been away for not a huge long time compared to some people, but I love to travel, so being able to travel again is just so exciting. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Anyway guys, that's it from me now, and hopefully I will see you on the next videos. Ciao for now.